Griffin. Yeah.
Y'all get in here.
Griffin, the speaker,
Let's go.
Author's intention is teaching their talk is to broaden their vision, the things they weren't
We
taught
do
when
some
they brought up
sharing.
as children. I introduce you to Dr. Joe Griffin.
Y'all come on in here. Come on in here. We got a good one today, y'all.
I introduce you to Dr. Joe Griffin, the speaker, consultant, and author's intention is teaching their talk is to broaden their vision, the things they were taught when they brought up as children. Reach for the top, regardless of situations, predicaments, or your conditions. He's making history, all of the districts, and creating retention from teachers. 50 to 80% that ain't all that you hear me. He is the mentor. He paved the way with his dip methodology, really. Dream, be persistent, face fears, seek change, go out and go get it. This what you learning with Dr. Joe Griffin. With Dr. Joe Griffin, yeah. He says recognize trauma, push past the pain. If you got a problem, go look at his frame. Work your perspective and look at it change. Find a goal, set it in critical thing. Manage time, self-awareness. These are the few of the things he's trying to get you to do every day. Do every day.
Get in here, share us out. Let's go.
To increase test scores with his teacher, principal, collaboration. Things he give to you will have you take you. Drive to the next level. But first, you need to get some fuel at gas station. Supporting education leaders, creating a culture for kids that'll last for ages. Lack of access to quality professional development, that's outrageous. Got his doctorate in education. Leadership, research, make changes. Need to put the kids first and raise them. Need to teach them they worth, stop playing. Later on, they gon' run this nation. Dr. Joe with his dissertation. Talk to those who would fix, make changes. I introduce you to Dr. Joe Griffin, a speaker, consultant, and author's intentions. The teaching their talk is to broaden their vision, the things they weren't taught when they brought up as children. Reach for the top, regardless of situations, predicaments, or your conditions. He's making history, all of the districts, and creating retention from teachers. 50 to 80% they ain't all that you hear me. He is the mentor. He paved the way with his dip methodology, really. Dream, be persistent, face fears, seek change, go out and go get it.
Share us out, let's go.
With Dr. Joe Griffin.
Great day, leaders. Welcome to the Empowerment Zone PD cast. Let's go. Week 71. Week 71, y'all. I can't make this up. I'm happy. I'm glad about it. I'm so happy that you all have decided to be here with me as well. Week 71. Let's go. This is what it's all about, you all. So we got a good one lined up for you today. Yes, indeed, we do. We got a good one lined up for you today. And a couple of things I want to definitely get started with, y'all. First, it's Black History Month, so we definitely want to continue to uplift, inspire, be encouraged. So much history and business to stand on as always. And there's been a lot going on in the media here lately, but guess what? It's a no defile zone. We will not be defiled. We will not be defiled. I won't even give reverence to the different things that we've been hearing and seeing in our different social medias and stuff, but we will not be defiled. Continue to be positive. Continue to go hard at what you do. I did have we had a funeral today. One of my classmates, we put away this morning. I was fortunate enough to be in attendance. And, whenever you bury a classmate, there are thoughts that come through your head, because you literally think that, wow, this could be me. And in some situations, you just don't know how that can make you feel. And people that you've gone to school with, you've seen grow up, you've grown up together. It's always something to deal with. So again, I just want to give reverence to my classmate, Marcel Thomas, and her family, definitely. And she had a beautiful homegoing ceremony this morning. I know that many of us are getting ready for the stretch run. Yeah. February, March, April. This is the stretch run. You're getting ready for test. This is the testing season. We've been preparing. We've been making the way all year long. Here we are at week 71. We're getting closer and closer. It's your season, leaders and teachers, because, again, we do it in collaboration. We do it together. That's what it's all about. Nothing can happen of benefit without the vision being for other people. And then you got to take it another step further and do it through the power of collaboration. So, again, had a great work week this week. A lot of instructional coaching on site. Several days. And one thing about it, you all, we love this work here at Joe Griffin Global, being able to coach educators, leaders. It's a powerful, powerful thing. And to see when that light bulb goes off, when you see strategies that you've been coaching and that you've been talking about actually in place. Some of you follow me on social media, and you probably saw a short clip. It was a short clip video. The teacher was doing stations in one class, and then we had group work with roles and routines going on in the other particular clip. And then you saw me do a quick model lesson on reciprocal teaching, one of the strategies that I talk about all the time. So we actually doing this work. And again, it's powerful when that light bulb goes off and you can see things turning around and things getting better for your teachers and for your students, and ultimately for your leaders and community as well. So big ups and big thanks on a great week this week, getting it in. Professional development next week, Memphis, Tennessee. We coming. We're gonna set it on fire. As always, you know, these are quick, short bursts, these live streams. But when I get you all day and actually able to pound in on your heart, and we actually to double that and compile that with strategies that we can use and tools. Oh man, it's gonna be something. It's gonna be amazing. I guarantee it. Also, this was Counselors Week. If you didn't shout out your counselors, make sure you do something special for them this week if you can. But Counselor Week always a priority because counselors, y'all the heartbeat of the school. You called on to do things that sometimes your administrators don't want to do. Sometimes you call to fill in for administrators. You got to go conduct SEL with your students. You got to counsel the adults. Everybody loves to run in that counselor's office. So you definitely want to keep them encouraged and uplifted and in the work. Don't set them off to the side. Make sure that the counselors are integral parts of what you do every single day, you all. So again, that's good stuff. And these AI caricatures, they've been funny, you all. I've been scared to make mine. I've seen some of yours. I've seen some of yours, and I don't even really want to do it. So I hadn't done it yet. I know I'll probably eventually do it, but I hadn't done it yet. And I don't know when that's going to take place. So again, it's good stuff though. Definitely appreciate you. Let's go, you all. And as we get ready to get started, you all know I like to start with a prelude. I like to always come in with a prelude that you can tie to your life, your living, what you do every day, but also fits us in education also, right? Because that's the primary viewership that comes on. But I always want to give a inspirational word that can be across the board for every walk, every life, every part of life. And today, I want to start with, because you know the topic, we're going to talk about supporting, attracting, and retaining qualified and impactful educators. But before we get to that, hope lives where you place it or where people feel held. Yeah, I'm gonna let that sink in for a minute. Hope lives where you place it. See, it's twofold, because we got people that are full of hope, that constantly are resilient, or don't ever want to go backwards and can't see themselves moving backwards. But then we got others that need a boost, that we got to keep uplifted, we got to keep encouraged. So we got to make those people feel held. Hope lives where you place it or where people feel held. No, none of us have it all together, right? None of us have it all together. It comes from knowing that you're supported, that someone has your back, that you're resilient in your efforts, that you refuse to lose, even in times of darkness, even in times of weakness. Hope lives where you place it or where people feel held. The strongest people, they don't always quit because it's hard. They leave because they're disappointed, because the support is not there. There's not a team-oriented environment. There's no collaboration. And when that's in place, we can't thrive. Every thriving environment is built on people wanting to, being able to feel seen, heard, developed, protected. And today we're not talking about fixing people. We're talking about creating conditions in which they can thrive, in which they can move forward regardless, because we got enough obstacles. We've got enough bad things. We got enough negativity. Hope lives where you place it, y'all, or where people feel hell. And that's powerful in itself. And when I can provide you with hope, I'm empowering you. So when we think about that today, you all, let's just keep going. I want to definitely keep going. We got a great one on deck for you today. And let me put my banner up here while we're getting that going, because I want you to be able to see the topic as well. 20 ways. And today, just part one. We're only going to do 7 ways today. Get you out of here in 35 minutes or so. But 20 ways in which we can support, attract, and retain impactful educators. And we had to have that support on there, because you're not retaining them unless you're supporting them. I'm gonna say that again. We're not retaining them unless you're supporting them. And the word gets out that you're supportive and that you're doing these different types of initiatives. Now you can attract people. We're gonna break all of those down, because people don't burn out because they're weak. They burn out because they feel like they're alone. They feel like they're unheard. They feel like they're not seen. They're unsafe, that the environment is not conducive to them. That's where those individual relationships, those individual connections, all that comes in place. You can't retain what you haven't supported, though, right? And you can't attract current people who won't recommend, who won't feel safe in the environment themselves. So before we even talk about recruiting and these retention bonuses, before you can talk about getting all the right people in place, you got to treat the ones that we have the right way. We got to support them so that they can be empowered, so that they can push the work, so that they can ultimately show their leadership skills, because you are a leader as an educator. It's not about position. It's not about titles. It's about an obligation. I was speaking with a teacher this past week, and one of the things that we discussed was it's an obligation to come in here every single day and give our very best, to have plans ready for our students, to know the direction in which we're going to go. That takes preparation to know where you plan on taking the students each day. I can't just come in here and flip to my script and expect to be able to push my students to next levels. No, we're going to get by. We'll get by. But when we're talking about pushing them to next levels, you got to be able to do that. So support is not about lowering expectations. It's about raising people up to meet them. Because if the adults don't feel like that they're supported, that they're not getting the support that they need or the development that they need, you can guarantee that they won't feel safe, and they're going to stop trying those different high-yielding instructional strategies. So support's the foundation. It's what is all built on. So I'm going to give you a few strategies. I'm going to probably give you about 7 today. Then we're going to break this up into 3 parts across the next few weeks. But we'll make sure we get them done, because it's not only testing season, it's also season in which you're going to be losing educators or keeping educators. And who wants to start over every single year? You already starting over anyway from a data perspective, because the data restarts. It's a different year. We got a different roster of students, correct? But who wants to start over from a personnel standpoint every time? And one of the things that I was really, really proud of during my various tenures as principal at 2 of our schools that I led, I ended up leading quite a few turnarounds. But at 2 of them, we went from 50+ percentage retention to 80% retention. And that's how we were able to build up the culture and build up the community, because now we got the same personnel coming back with a lot of the same signature strategies. Of course, you have to adjust them for the individual students, but you got these signature strategies that you've professionally developed your teachers on, and guess what? They learn them. They keep them with them. They push them forward. They expand on them. They use them in various different ways, and sometimes they use them better than you even taught it to them, because you got the hope in them. You got the belief in them. And as a leader, you put them in a situation and then you allow them to explore it. So first thing, you got to stay connected to the people that are doing the work. And it's definitely okay. You take your notes, put it in your phone, whatever you do, because this going to definitely hit home today, because it not only impacts the future for your school, but it's also impacting right now, because you still got tests coming up in the next 2 weeks. You still have to finish out the school year, and you want to finish out in a fury, in a blaze, blasting off, making sure that you got things in place, because we're talking sustainability. You got to always be thinking 2 to 3 years ahead. You say, I might not even be there in 2 to 3 years. So what? As a leader, it's your obligation to make sure that you're thinking 2, 3 years ahead. And if you leave at the end of you go somewhere, that's okay too. You still have your vision. And guess what? It's probably easily transferable into what you're doing on that next part of your phase or your career. So keep that in mind. You got to stay connected to the people that's doing the work. That's the first thing. You got to support with presence. You got to be visible. You got to understand that absence creates assumptions. So if I'm a leader, I want to be right in the midst, right in the thick, interacting, not in a way to demean, but in a way to uplift. You can't support what you don't see or what you don't hear, period. Let that sink in for a minute. You can't support what you don't see or what you don't hear. That's why it's important to stay connected with the people that's doing the work. You can't be so high on your pedestal as the leader or as the teacher in your classroom that you're not checking in with students or that you're not checking in with personnel all the time. You can't get tired and say, I'm not communicating this week, or I'm in my own zone. No. You want to make sure that you're still staying connected. We talked about temperament before. We talked about making sure we're checking that, because it changes, it fluctuates. And as the leader, I have to manage that. Because if it's fluctuating under my leadership, that's a definite reflection of what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm gonna let that sink for a minute, because I'm telling you the truth. These are some things that we have to think about in these positions and in education. A couple of things: 5-minute daily walkthroughs. Right. Focus on people, not necessarily always the instruction. Right. Of course, you got to make sure you're doing those walkthroughs, those evaluations, but also sometimes it's not even about it. Sometimes it's just an SEL check. Sometimes it's just a hello, Mrs. Brown. I hope you have a great evening, because I didn't get a chance to tell you that on yesterday or the day before. It's been 3 days. So now I need to make sure I go and speak to this teacher or to this student. I've got to maintain contact with the people that's doing the work or the people that I'm expecting to be uplifted. I can't uplift you and I don't touch you. Who say that? I can't uplift you if I don't touch you, if I don't mentally touch you, if I don't give you the tools that you need, the resources that you need to be uplifted. That's on me as the leader. So I got to take that seriously, you all. Definitely appreciate you. Coach Dr. Makita G. We definitely see you sharing out as always. Calumet City, Illinois in the house. I thank you so much for what you do every single week. We appreciate you, Coach. Thank you. So those weekly informal check-in, and one of the questions you might say, what's going well? What's heavy? I need to know this, because I might have thought it was easy for you, but then you explained to me that you're having this issue. Now we're going to brainstorm together. Now we're going to collaborate. We talk about collaboration all the time. We talk about connection all the time. And let me just put this up real quick. Remember our framework. And you see on that bottom triangle, it's all about connection, empowerment, collaboration. We speak to that. We live that. We believe that. That's what it's all about when you're in leadership. So we have to keep that in mind. Stay connected, you all. Stay connected. Another thing, number 2 for the day. We're going to try to get through 7 today, you all. But number 2, listen to expertise, not just position. right? Not just because you got somebody in position, but because we understand that we are more powerful together. You don't have to be the superintendent to know a good teaching strategy. You can learn a good teaching strategy sometimes from an assistant teacher or a para. If you're able to listen and you're able to honor the voice, that's a part of that support. That's a part of that teamwork. See, teachers, when they feel like that their expertise is not looked into, is not appreciated, and it's ignored, oh, they getting on out of there. They're gonna disengage. So you gotta know that I need this other perspective. And we may not always agree, we may not even always implement, but the fact is, I'm hearing your voice. I'm allowing you the opportunity. I'm listening, because now listening gonna build ownership in me. Because if I'm that type of leader, now we're gonna figure out how we can make it all work together. That's what it comes down to. That's what it's all about. So maybe in your PLC, and this is a strategy, I like to slip these strategies in on you. Sometimes rotate the PLC facilitator. It doesn't have to always be the department chair. It doesn't have to always be the AP. It doesn't have to always be the principal. Rotate that through your teaching staff. Like, we got so many different expert voices on staff, and sometimes they're just waiting for the opportunity to speak. And let me add this, and to be heard. Because it's one thing to speak, but it's a whole nother perspective when you actually listening and you hear. So again, people support what they help shape. If they help and shape it, now you can expect them to help support it. You can also be able to stretch them a little further because I'm supporting you. So now I can stretch you. I can get you to another level because we've got that relationship, that connection. Again, see, support, it requires courage. It requires me to show up. It requires me to be there. I can't be silent and support. It's permission if I'm silent about it. If I don't mention what needs to support, that means I've given permission for it to keep going. I hope y'all hear me. If I don't talk about what needs to support, if I don't hold that accountability piece with supportive structures in place to make sure that it happens, that means I've only given permission for that action to keep going. And we know that unresolved issues, they always show up in the classroom between the teachers and the students. So we got to nip those things in the bud from the door, as they say. So don't dodge issues. We can't dodge issues, you all. We can't dodge them. We got to face them head on. So listen to expertise of others, but also we can't dodge issues, right? Another thing, and we're going pretty quickly today. This the fourth one, actually. Make feedback and interaction normal. Wow. Make feedback and interaction normal. It's a part of the culture. Support helps reframe feedback as growth instead of judgment. We don't want to put our educators in traumatic situations. We want to put them in situations where they can grow, where they can develop, where they can learn from the things that they input, so they can learn from the various implementations that failed, and also for the ones that are successful. See, when I ask you to be innovative as an educator, when you fail at it, I've got to continue to push and uplift because I want to continue to see you take those risks. Because now I know that you're going to have the biggest bang for your buck with student achievement. Playing it safe all the time, especially in our educational spaces, that's not going to produce the growth that we need. Sometimes you want to see something different, a different variety of strategies, a way of allowing students to collaborate, to converse, to be able to have discussion. See, we are people. We work with and through and grow with and through other people. So we need that collaboration space, that opportunity to do so. So you got to make feedback normal. Shouldn't feel like a surprise. It shouldn't feel like a threat. It shouldn't be something that you give once a year. Some of y'all know educators like that, leaders like that, to give feedback once a year or sometimes none a year, that hadn't been in their room since August, or the first time was in February? You know anything like that? Well, you may or may not, but you got to make feedback as something that is part of the culture. Growth cultures talk often. There's always a conversation about what we can do, not necessarily what went wrong, but what we can do to keep getting better. Now you're talking my language. What we can do to keep getting better. We not gonna, let me take my glass off. We're not gonna focus on what went wrong all the time. Yeah, it went wrong. We tried it. We failed at it. But hope, hope is where the heart is. Hope allows us to keep going regardless of that failure. It allows us to reshape and reframe and revitalize and stay focused in our task at hand, right? That's what it comes down to. So those frequent feedback cycles, you may have heard me talk about feedback loops before. And through 71 episodes, you all, 71 PD casts, we hadn't had the same topic yet, although we had some of the same terminology here and there. But those feedback cycles, you got to frame those around improvement. That's why you always lead with the positive. And as I state there, or state that, we move into the fifth strategy for today. Coach with positivity, even during accountability. I'm gonna let that sink in for a second. Because I know my teachers, I know my leaders, we need this information. We need to be able to think together, to collaborate. See, sometimes we gotta pull our own card. Sometimes we gotta think about how we operate in these leadership spaces. If I'm leading with negativity, do I really expect for me to be able to hold you accountable? Think about it. Do you work hard for those that you don't think support you? I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes today, but do you work hard for those people that you feel like don't support you? No, care without accountability, that's only going to create confusion. You got to have care in there. You got to make sure that your people know. You've heard me talk about the ABCs: accountability, belongingness, and collaboration. They go together. This is a constant reiteration of those things that we have to do to support, attract, and retain impactful educators. And you're talking about leaders and teachers, because you are a leader as an educator, no matter what your position. And with that being the mindset and the mind frame, you have to push that on to your people. That's your obligation. When you tell your teacher, our kids can't accept you not coming in, already knowing what the lesson is about. They don't deserve that. You got kids. So we got to make it in a way that it hits home, and in a way that we can actually feel the results. And now I'm going to give you some strategies behind this, because now you got to still support. We're talking about how to support them, how to retain them, how to attract them. Now they can feel like, wow, this person has my best interest. Not only did they tell me, but they also gave me implementation strategies. They came back and worked with me on my Madeline Hunter lesson line structure. They showed me the different ways in which I can do an exit ticket. They showed me how to move from guided practice into an independent practice for my students. Not only did they tell me, but they also gave me 5 to 10 different activities that I can choose right from the guided practice activities, because there are a lot of different ways to do it. Then they give me 4 or 5 different independent practice activities that I can choose from. Now I become empowered. I'm able to take ownership as the leader. That's our obligation. You got to lead with that positivity in order to create a space of accountability. Woo! Y'all, we on fire today. We're on fire today, and I'm loving it. Let me see what we got in these comments. Definitely appreciate it. All you all. And as you continue to think about it, I want to go on to the 6th way. You got to build adult to adult trust intentionally. Support is relational. It's not something that's operational. It's something that you have to build. Remember, let me put it back up again. Connection, empowerment, collaboration, and in no specific order, right? But those three things have to take place. And when you building those adult to adult relationships, you have to be intentional about doing so. See, instruction gonna only improve when the trust is high, when there's a safe space, there's an environment in which we're working consistently, that is fair in here. It's fair in here, in our school, in our organization. It's fair in here. And there's follow through in here. We're not talking about over there. We're talking about here, at our space, in our educational community. So we got to be consistent with those expectations across the board. We got to make sure that we're doing what we say that we're going to do. Trust builds collaboration. So we got to, again, be intentional with those relationships so that we can support, so that we can attract and retain impactful educators. And I'm a 7 for today, you all, and then we're going to definitely tie it all back together. Be yourself. Authentic leadership, that's what's going to help you keep your people. They need to know that this is who you are every day. This is how you show up, that you're going to show up, that you're going to be who you say you are, and that you're going to do for them in your supportive ways what you say you're going to do. That you're going to, as they say, stand on business, right? I led at the show. We got so much history and business to stand on every day. So, in being yourself, you want to make sure that you don't try to portray yourself as this perfect person. You don't have to be perfect to lead. So you want to be consistent and understanding that, look, I could be vulnerable. No, I make mistakes. I wasn't always this particular educator that I need to be. I wasn't always in a position. This is your conversation. I wasn't always in a position where I can help you with your instruction. You got to be able to have those conversations. My first 2-3 years, I made this and that mistake. I came in and I was too friendly with the kids. Whatever it is that affected you, you got to be able sometimes to be vulnerable. Be yourself, because we know that we all have struggles, and it's okay when you share that. So be able to admit some of those mistakes, and sometimes even publicly. You know, you got to lead with humility. You got to be able to stand with the common people, as they say. You got to be able to be touched. You got to understand that when I'm leading, I'm still here for you. I'm still supporting you. And it's going to go across to the mainstream. You're going to start seeing those retention rates. You're going to start seeing the support come back, because now they feel like you're supporting them. Guess what they're going to do for you? They're going to support you. We talk about empowering educational communities, a guide for teacher principal collaboration. And I'll put that book up too in a few minutes. If you haven't gotten it, please make sure you do. But that's a real thing. We work together. Teacher principal collaboration is a real thing, because they're not going to grow when they don't feel support. They're not going to try those new strategies. They're not going to ask you for help. They're not going to stay longer. They're not going to recommend the school to others. And those are all things that you want to take place. So we have to be intentional about what we constantly bring to the table as leaders in our various educational communities. Let's go. So I'm going to ask you a reflection question. Where might your people feel unheard right now? I know that's a stinger. It might be a stinger for you. But think about it. And if you can't figure it out, you might need to go ask them. Where you feeling unsupported at right now? You know how much power is in that question? Even if you get the answer that you don't want to hear. Even if they tell you the naked truth, because that's what you want anyway, but you've given them an option to be listened to. You don't want them just compliant, just doing what you say do just because. You want them to have ownership of what we do in this culture. So what support strategy do you do well? You know, just like we say, how your people feeling unheard, but what are you doing really, really well? How can you leverage that? Because even while we're supporting, attracting, and retaining these educators, guess what? You got test season coming up. You got to keep your eye on the prize, right? As an instructional leader, that is why we're in the business, right? Of course, the relationships, the accountability pieces, the collaboration, but those test scores, they're going to make you or break you. It's a reality. It's a fact. They call it high stakes testing. Y'all, you heard of that one, haven't you? They call it high stakes testing, and it's constantly going on. So all of this plays an important role. Guess what? Now that I've got these impactful educators, because I supported them, I retained them, and now I'm able to attract them. Now that I got these highly impactful educators, the students can flourish. The community can flourish. Start your support pulse. Here's the deal. Over the next 30 days, and we're going to say 30, but you can stretch it out 60, 90, however many days you got left in the school year, because this can be something you do every single day. But you're going to be intentional about checking in with one of your staff members every day. I didn't say they check in with you and then you flip the conversation to how are you doing. That's different. Or it just comes about through passing. No, this is an intentional conversation, one per day for 30 days. And depending on how big your staff is, you're going to touch them multiple times throughout the year. Don't let your APs do it with you as well. Now we got multiple touch points of support. Because again, there's no retaining without support. There's no attracting without support. There's no growth without support. There is no collaboration without support. We can't move our school without the support. Not to next levels. We can maintain where we are. Kids come in on a 2, they can stay on a 2. A teacher comes in scoring 2 on the teacher rubric, she can continue to score on the 2. But we talking about moving her to a 3 or 4 gonna be pretty hard depending on how big your scale. But we trying to move them up to proficient levels on the teaching scale, on the teaching rubric. Just like we're trying to move the student up to a 3 or 4 on the academic rubric. But that doesn't happen without the support and the accountability measures in place to help make sure that that support is impactful. Let's go, you all. Last question you're gonna ask them. Would I feel supported working for me? I'm gonna let that sink in. Would I feel supported working for me? All those are things that you want to ask. Appreciate you, Coach. You are talking good, Dr. Joe Griffin. Appreciate you. You are great. Hate you left Mouse Point. I appreciate that, Brother Holloway. Mouse Point place it always be in my heart. We made history there, man. No doubt about it. Appreciate the love. Thank you so much. So as we get ready to come to a call, I do want to share my resource, which I hadn't done that in a while. But we're going over to a PD next week in Memphis, Tennessee. We're going to set them on fire. They got books. We're going to definitely speak a little bit from it. But the Empowering Education Communities, a guide for teacher principal collaboration. That's the one, the third on the bottom there. Of course, the DIP approach for educators, success manual. If you haven't picked these up, make sure you do. Please make sure you do. Of course, the DIP approach for student and adult success, the SEL curriculum, still very viable, still very powerful. 33 principal SEL program, you all, that will help students and adults self-actualize. And then here's my newest baby down there in the middle, you all. Those critical skills mastery workbooks. We got them K through 8 already ready. Just get in contact. We want to work with you. We want to make sure we put teachers and leaders in position where they can be successful. And here's the thing with the critical skills mastery workbook, you all. They can be taught as a primary or a secondary curriculum. I know most of the time you have your spiral curriculums as your primary, but here's a secondary one that you could definitely use. Comes equipped with bell ringers, exit tickets. It has the teacher differentiation models, especially in the teacher edition. A lot of power in building those skills, because I'm a firm believer that this is why I'm gonna break this down for you. We got kids that can't get past 1s and 2s, right? But we still want them to master 5 or 6 standards together. Well, they're probably getting half of the information. That's why they're at a 2 on the 4 scale. But let us try breaking that down just a little bit and still interweaving in our spiral curriculums, but put it in a way where now it's chunked down. We talk about chunk learning all the time as a strategy, but yet we don't enforce it when we're talking about building literacy in students, when we're talking about building skills for our students, as well as for our teachers, because they need that isolation sometime as well. Now I can put it all together in a package, right? And then, of course, we got the integration of the arts and therapy. That's the 3-book poem collection, you all. Spirit, Heart, and Soul collection, as always. And last thing, you all, support is not a bonus. I've been saving this one. Oh, I've been supporting you all year long. Leader, that's what you're supposed to do. You hadn't done anything extra by giving support. You did your obligation. You did what you're supposed to do, what you should be taking pride in as the leader. Because if you get support right, you're going to retain the teachers. You're going to attract more teachers, you all. And with that being said, you all, I'm getting ready to sign out. Continue to love, live, and learn with your heart. Continue to seek wisdom so that you can find your true purpose. And continue to be courageous so that you can drown out all fear and be you need to be in your educational spaces and places. Peace and much love, you all. Hope you enjoyed today's Empowerment Zone PDcast. Let's go.